Hello everyone and welcome to Madridista Notes. Today some really stupid news came out. The usual shenanigans of Real Madrid board and Florentino Perez and Jose Angel Sanchez. It happened with Zinedine Zidane. Now it's happening with Carlo Ancelotti. The news that came out earlier today is Real Madrid board is not happy with Carlo Ancelotti, and if Real Madrid do not win the Club World Cup, Carlo Ancelotti's job might be in danger. And what that gives you is the idea that Real Madrid board is up to their old shenanigans whenever they see that the team is going through some trouble, and when the situation comes to a head and you can see that the opportunities, the chances of Real Madrid winning a big trophy will be minimal, and then to totally get rid of any responsibilities and totally putting all the responsibilities all the of the failure onto the manager. It's the same game plan from Real Madrid board every single time. They did it with every single manager since this is the Florentino Perez playbook all over again. It happened with Zinedine Zidane last time, if you remember, when we were having trouble qualifying from the Champions League group stages. The leaks came out that the board were not happy. They were not happy with the performances, and Zinedine Zidane's job was on the line. So that was really disrespectful. Zinedine Zidane felt really disrespected from that, and when he left Real Madrid's job, he walked away after that season ended, and he wrote a letter to the fans, and we saw that he had grievances. The board doesn't back the manager the way they promised when they offered Zinedine Zidane the job. And Zidane, as he loves Real Madrid and he has always shown the affection towards Real Madrid, he came back even when we were in a really shit position. But the board went back on their word when Zinedine Zidane needed the backing from the board with signings, with some decisions. The board went back on their word and didn't back Zinedine Zidane. So when the problems arised in the squad, when it looked like the squad was not really up to the task of winning the major trophies in the second season of Zidane, they started leaking news and putting all the blame on Zidane. The same is happening with Carlo Ancelotti right now. Ancelotti hasn't been backed one bit this season after winning the double, the league and Champions League. It is one of the hardest job in the world, winning the league and Champions League in the same season because of the difficulties, the consistency it takes to win both these trophies, and that's why you see really rarely teams winning both the league and Champions League in a season. After Carlo Ancelotti did that, it was really hard with the kind of squad we had. We have to remember our squad was not something extraordinary last season. It was the mentality of this team and the coaching prowess of Carlo Ancelotti and the really some really late action from Rodrigo and Camavinga. Rodrigo came clutch multiple times, and we came out from some really difficult situations in the knockout stages against Chelsea, Manchester City, and PSG. So after that kind of season, a historic season, Carlo Ancelotti, I think, was expecting the board to back him financially enough, back him with some players, back him with signings that he would like to sign in some really in some positions where he thought that the signings would be necessary. But as Real Madrid board always feels like thinks of themselves as the all-knowing, they feel like they are some geniuses, I guess, a geniuses in team management, team planning, because the planning of the squad was shit from the get-go. They didn't plan the squad well. There are huge holes in the squad, and they asked Carlo Ancelotti to go out and compete in all six trophies, compete for all six trophies, and that's just cruel. Like you are not giving him enough artillery, enough backing to go out there and fight the battle. You are just sending him up for failure. They have sent Carlo Ancelotti up for failure this season. There is no other explanation for why they did what they did. The forward line is stripped bare. The fullbacks are totally not up to the task. The defense and the midfield, the center of the defense and midfield, and only they, I think, for some reason, they have some um, obsession with the midfield right now. This Real Madrid board has obsession with buying teenagers from Brazil, but the thing that we need the most right now to plug some gaping holes in the squad, they are not really up to the task to plug those gaps, and that's the grievances of the coaching team, the coaching team that's headed by Carlo Ancelotti. I think they are leaking some stuff to the press too, and from their grievances, we can understand. Their grievances are totally understandable. We can totally understand why they are not happy with the squad. Just look at our squad that we are going to play against Al Ahly tomorrow in the Club World Cup. We will have to field us a front line of Rodrigo, Vinicius, Asensio, and if something doesn't work in the bench, on the bench we only have Mariano. There is no other option. We are only going with four forwards in the Club World Cup, and it's not like some the teams who come here to play are champions in their own continents. They are nothing to scoff at. The team we will be playing against, Al Ahly, they are in great form right now. They have won five out of their last five matches. They are right now first in the Egyptian league. They haven't lost a single match in their own league. In the matches they have played in the Egyptian league, they have only conceded five goals throughout the season. So they are a team in really, really good form. They are defensively well drilled, and so they will be flying high in confidence. And the kind of form in Real Madrid is right now, we are losing to Minos in La Liga. We do not have any um, kind of answers to the problems. Even some relegation phase teams are putting against Real Madrid. We are suffering throughout the whole front line, throughout the whole squad. The midfield isn't firing, the forwards aren't firing, the defense are collapsing here and there. Only some players are up to the task to lead this line. And it's a real crisis moment for Real Madrid because we are playing every 3 days from now until the international break, and we will be playing Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, and many more La Liga teams in between. The kind of form we are in, you won't bet on Real Madrid to win even I don't know. I won't put Real Madrid as clear favorites against any team right now because what we are seeing right now is not the regular Real Madrid team. It's a team. It's totally stripped of quality. There is no quality depth in Real Madrid right now. We are playing the same team again and again, and there are no substitutions in the bench on the bench to change the games other than Rodrigo. Sometimes maybe a couple of midfielders if they are fit. In attack forward, there is no one there. Change the game in midfield, there is, but we are mostly players are falling injured. So I don't see where we can get the spark. Last year it was like Kamavinga. He was the spark. He was an excellent player, a really, really excellent signing, exciting player, a young player we bought from Rennes, from France. Um, and Rodrigo, it was one of his the way he came in clutch. But this season there are no sparks like the kind of injection into the squad, new blood. We are not blooding the squad well enough. This squad is not getting blooded well enough. When you bring in couple of new players to plug in the gaps and to create some competition in the squad, it makes the first team players give it their extra, even 20%, 30% more, because they see that there are threats to their spot in the starting lineup in the squad. So they try that extra mile. But when there are no adequate backup, adequate competition, they don't feel threatened. Their places in the starting lineup, their places in the squad are really, really safe. So they are not feeling threatened, and they are not really going that extra mile to fight for their place in the starting lineup or in the squad. So it creates some complacency, as we have already won the league and Champions League last season. The players might not be as motivated, and when they see that there are no competition in the squad for their place anyway, why would you be motivated to give in their that extra 20-30% in the league? It's obviously up for show, because in the league the players don't really take it that seriously most of the time. That has been the problem with Real Madrid throughout the last decade under Florentino Perez. And in the Champions League, you don't need to motivate them under the lights. In the Champions League, the biggest competition, club competition, so they give it their all during the Champions League nights. That's why we win more Champions League than win the leagues, because this Real Madrid team under Florentino Perez's president reign, we have never been consistent in the league campaigns. We win the league here, and then the next season we drop off. We haven't won back to back La Liga under Florentino Perez. Under the previous president, we won the La Liga back to back, even though that guy wasn't financially that reliable. That at least we won back to back La Liga titles. I just want to dominate Spanish La Liga again. Real Madrid hasn't been the dominating team in the Spanish La Liga for a long time now. Even Atletico Madrid, with their, I don't know, really haram ball under Simeone, has won two La Liga titles in the last 10 years, and I think we have won three, and that's a really, really bad indication for Real Madrid. The kind of, I don't know, it shows that we are showing more, less and less interest in the league. If our board was really, really serious about us winning the league, and they were serious about backing Carlo Ancelotti, they would have brought in Joao Cancelo and Fran Garcia, because these both players were both available during this winter transfer market. Joao Cancelo became available, and even Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that he was a serious option, but Real Madrid has said they're happy with their squad. They trust in Vinicius Tobias. You can trust in Vinicius Tobias. Joao Cancelo was a 6 month loan. I doubt Bayern Munich are going to sign him permanently. Even if they do, um, that's another option, because it wasn't a compulsory loan deal like with an obligation. It was a 6 months deal with an option for Bayern Munich. We could have done the same deal with Manchester City for the next 6 months, and Fran Garcia for 5 million. It was a no-brainer, but We didn't do it. These two players would have beefed up our squad by a huge amount. Like, can you imagine the kind of problems we are having through the flanks of Real Madrid? It's terrible, terrible. Carvajal, Vasquez, Nacho, these players are not giving much in terms of performances when we are trying to overlap. Nacho is a makeshift right back. Vasquez is a makeshift right back. Carvajal is finished. He is totally finished physically and uh, at the highest level. I don't trust Carvajal anymore to start for Real Madrid. Just imagine Joe Cancelo in his prime right now. I am not saying he's perfect, but his magnitudes better than what we are seeing in Carvajal right now. And Fran Garcia, he has been one of the best left backs in Spain for the last 18 months. Just imagine him competing with um, Mendy. Instead, we are wasting Camavinga in left back right now. It's just negligence from this board. This board just makes my blood boil most of the time right now. They are just negligent. We could have brought in, if Manchester United can bring in a backup striker on loan, and when their player got injured, they found out on deadline day, and they went in and brought a backup midfielder from Bayern Munich. If they can do those kind of loan deals, Real Madrid, an institution like Real Madrid, can do it easily too. We could have went in and brought in a backup striker for Benzema. Right now, Benzema is injured. We could have used someone there, but no, right now we don't have anyone there. We could have brought in someone to, I don't know, um, to play as right winger, who is a bona fide right winger. But I think that's a more of a summer signing, so I will let that slide. We could have brought in three temporary signings to plug the gaps in the squad, and we could have made an attempt to win this league. Right now, with this threadbare squad, Carlo Ancelotti is struggling. You can see he's struggling. The team is struggling, and I don't have much faith in retaining the La Liga title. I think Barcelona is going to win it. The after In the history of Real Madrid or something, from this position, from this 8 points gap, after 20 or 21st matches finished, Real Madrid has never recovered that gap and won the league. And I don't think with this kind of um, depth, we are not making up that point gap. So Barcelona can be considered La Liga champions already. I am not even going to expect Real Madrid to win the league and get those point gap reduced. In the Champions League, if we play our cards right, with all the big teams struggling, we might have a chance. And in Champions League, Real Madrid always somehow does something. So I will not really count Real Madrid out in the Champions League. And I would really, really concentrate on the Copa del Rey, and I would really love to knock Barcelona out in the semi-final and go on to win this cursed Copa del Rey. So I would, if I was Carlo Ancelotti and I wasn't backed by the board and my job was on the line, and the board was backstabbing me um, on my behind my back, leaking stories in the press, I would just say screw the league. I would totally concentrate on the cup competitions in the Champions League and Copa del Rey. And even if he wins one of those, I would say Carlo Ancelotti has done his part. I wouldn't blame Carlo Ancelotti one bit for this season. For this season, the whole blame goes to the board. Florentino Perez, Jose Angel Sanchez, these people are the culprit for this season. Their squad planning has been shit. They have been shit. It has been shown that they are not good at squad planning. They think like they know the best when Carlo Ancelotti, one of the best managers of all time, is saying he needs players. They are vetoing him. They are not giving him the signings he wants. They are not um, backing him with the players that he would like to sign. When you are doing this kind of stuff, and then you see that it's so easy to see, even from the summer, the Real Madrid fan base could see that this squad was not up to the task. This squad was too thin. The quality was not there. So this board, headed by Florentino Perez and Jose Angel Sanchez, deserve the whole blame for this season. I hope the fan base doesn't forget and they do not forgive for this season. They have totally set up Carlo Ancelotti for failure. They have totally set up this season for failure. I don't know what kind of shady business they are doing behind the scenes, because it feels like Real Madrid are, I don't know, they say we have money, we can do signings, but we even don't do some temporary signings. It's not like we need to do some um, big signings in January. You go for some loans, and in 6 months, those players can go back to their own clubs, and you don't need to make those deals permanent. You just beef up the squad and give something to Carlo Ancelotti to work with, so the fans can see and the coaching, the manager feels back. But you are not doing it. It makes me feel like you are hiding something from the fans. Financially, maybe you cannot do it. You are hiding some problems that Real Madrid are having financially, or you were totally negligent to mm, the problems in the squad. You don't want to improve the squad. You have some other plans. Maybe you want to bring in new manager and want to start a new cycle with new manager. That's why you didn't want to back Carlo Ancelotti with new signings. Okay, that could be an option there, because it feels like they are trying to get rid of Carlo Ancelotti as soon as the season is over. All the leaks are coming out at the same. But even if that's the case, you could have gone with some temporary 6 months loan to back this manager, to back this season. But you haven't done it. You haven't done no back the manager. You haven't backed this season. You have totally set up this season for failure, and the total blame goes on the board, on Florentino Perez and Jose Angel Sanchez. They have to explain their decisions during this January transfer window, because we had the opportunities, these market opportunities arise. Joao Cancelo, Fran Garcia, some backup striker for 6 months loan. We could have done it. It's Real Madrid. These three signings would have given us such a huge boost in our La Liga campaign and Champions League campaign, Copa del Rey, everything. But right now we are languishing 8 points behind Barcelona in the league. In the Champions League, I don't know what is going to happen. In the Copa del Rey semi-final, Barcelona is flying high. They're in form. Their players are playing well. I don't know if we are going to beat them in the Copa del Rey semi-final. So this season's future is looking really bleak. This season looks like a season that happens every other season under this board, under Florentino Perez. One season we are good, one season we are shit. It's happening every season. The reason is they don't keep refreshing the squad and adding some new blood. That's the problem with this board, and I hope the fan base remembers this and don't blame Carlo Ancelotti. He's using whatever he has. He's doing whatever he can with the players he has under him. And we have to remember Castilla right now is second in the league, I think, in the third division. So there are some important matches going on, and that's why Carlo Ancelotti is most of the time not um, calling the players from Castilla, because Castilla can get a promotion this season if they keep this form going on. So you cannot really keep calling Castilla players, important Castilla players into the first team, and break their rhythm, totally destroy the chemistry in the Castilla team. That could be counterproductive for Castilla. So I understand, and he is a first team manager. He's not responsible for the development of the Castilla team. To be honest, we can hope for that he gives some players some chances, but we cannot really force it on Carlo Ancelotti to give all the to give Castilla players the minutes that maybe the board would like to have, the fans would like to have. The first team squad, that's the bread and butter for the manager, first team manager, and he is using whatever he has been provided with. And he hasn't been provided with much this season. There are really, really big problems in this squad. And so I am not going to blame Carlo Ancelotti. My full force of my anger and hatred goes to the board and Florentino Perez and Jose Angel Sanchez. They are not really serious about this season. If they were even a little bit serious and they cared for this season's success, they would have, like, all the fan base understands it. Even people who doesn't understand, I don't know what their plan is. They just feel like they are some high level intellectuals. The board, they are like, they have some nose. Their noses are really high up. They don't really go for the players. They feel like we are too good for loan deals. They feel like their planning is so great. They already planned in the summer for this season. They feel like if you do January signings, it's like you are acknowledging that your planning was not good enough. They are so arrogant and so, I don't know, proud of their decision making, that they would like to go trophyless and sack the manager, then blame everything on him, instead of just, acknowledging that there are some problems in the squad and trying to fill the gap and get a really successful season from this season. But they are not going to do it. They didn't do it, and let's see what happens in this season. Tomorrow we have a semi-final in the Club World Cup final. Club World Cup. Let's just hope and pray we do well enough to reach the final and win the Club World Cup, because or else there are going to be some problems. There will be more leagues, and with the Champions League knockout stages, matches coming on against Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Copa del Rey semifinals, we don't need that kind of negativity. Hopefully, we win the Club World Cup, and our team starts some kind of goes on some kind of resurgence. We get back into some good form and start winning matches. That's it for tonight. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Have a good day, good night, wherever you are. See you next time. Hala Madrid.